Hey everyone, I am Beth Miller. I am a marriage coach and I am coming today to you with a really difficult topic. I'm talking about 8 signs that your husband will cheat again. And this could be universal, it could be a husband, could be a wife, but 8 signs that your partner will cheat again. And I want to start off with letting you know this is a very difficult topic for me to bring to you. I've thought about it a ton, whether I want to actually do this topic, but it's one that I get asked a lot. How will I know if my husband's cheating again? Because there's that belief out there, can a man who's cheated change? Can a man, who's cheated, will he do it again? How will I know? Once a cheater, always a cheater. Can a marriage survive if he cheats again a second time? And the reason I'm hesitant to bring this to you is because I want to put out the caveat, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Everyone's relationship is so different. What I'm about to say isn't black and white. It isn't the be all end all. If they check all these boxes, it means he's going to cheat. He's going to cheat. I do not want to put any more fear, paranoia. You're already going through so much. So please take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. These are some signs, but they aren't the be all end all. Every single relationship is in a different stage of healing from betrayal. And there's kind of two flips to everything, two sides of the coin to everything that I'm about to say. And if your husband does check a box in one of the signs I'm about to say, it could be for a different reason. And it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to cheat. So I've done my due diligence. I've taken a ton of notes. So I'm going to be looking in multiple spots because I want to make sure I bring you the best information with the right data so that you can take this, take a deep breath and realize, you know what, I'm just empowering myself with some more information, but I don't want you to have restless nights, not able to sleep, especially tonight. But please send us a DM if you have any questions. If there's any way we can help or facilitate this with you, we are here for you. All right, buckle up. We're going to talk about these 8 signs. And like I said, please take this with a grain of salt. This does not mean that your husband's going to cheat. So this is a big disclaimer there. So what if a husband cheats, right? What if he cheats again? How do I know? Will he do it again? Has he healed enough? Is he taking enough ownership? Is he doing the right things? Is he doing enough, right? We're always wondering this. So the aftermath of betrayal, right? It comes with so much pain. It comes with so much uncertainty. It comes with this deep-seated desire to know the future. Will this happen again? So we're going to explore a bunch of topics around trust, around communication versus like healing to know if he's going to do this again. Because like I said, this is kind of generic for all male, female, like wives, husbands, but I do specialize when it comes to working with wives. I'm a marriage coach. I help specialize with wives that have been betrayed by their husbands, heal from the trauma so they can get that clarity whether they want to save their marriage. And often they do. They want to give it their best shot. They want to do everything they can. And they can. Absolutely. The wives I work with, they are the catalyst for change because something has to change. Often they've tried couples counseling and sometimes it makes it worse. Going once a week is not cutting it all the time. If they need to go maybe to a more intensive strategy, or they're just arguing more, their husband is not doing the homework. So sadly, when it comes to marriages, about 13-15% of women cheat, and men it's about 20-25. So about 25% all marriages over a lifetime of a marriage will be hit by betrayal, which is so many. That's 1 in 4. Like, think about the neighbors on your street. Think about the people you work with. 1 in 4 marriages will be impacted by some sort of betrayal. So let's get into this a little bit more because the scary stat is like there's so many factors that are part of this, but like a study by Kayla Nope out of Denver University showed that those who have cheated in the past have a 3 times more likely chance to cheat again. But there's a lot of factors in that, whether it's marriage, whether it's like it could be a boyfriend, girlfriend, younger, early 20s relationship. Like there's so many factors that go into that study. I don't want that to be an end all be all, that 3 times likely to cheat again. So again, like I said, I'm very cautious with this topic because I want you all to be able to sleep tonight or not have ruminating thoughts. So reach out again if you need any support with what I'm about to talk to you today. So signs that he'll cheat again, like number 1 is really, has he truly reflected on the impact of his past infidelity? And this is tricky because he may be avoiding it because it's so painful. It brings up a lot of shame. It brings up a lot of guilt. It hurts him that he's done this. He's so ashamed of himself. And maybe he's a bit of an empath too. And he doesn't want to hurt you because that makes him feel worse about himself. It makes him feel like he's bad. It makes him feel like he's done something wrong, which he has. He may not even know how to face his emotions, but one of the signs is he truly hasn't reflected on the impact of his past infidelity. So that would be part 1. So one of the most crucial indicators whether a husband's going to cheat again is his attitude towards his past infidelity. If he hasn't taken the time to deeply reflect on it, and again, this comes with process, like the day of the discovery or throughout the trickle truce, he may be hiding it because it hurts so much. He may be hiding behind a different story. It doesn't mean he's going to cheat again, but eventually that processing needs to happen, and it will happen in time. It needs to happen. And boundary may come up for you eventually, saying, you know what, I need him to get professional help so that he can process it. But right now I'm working on myself. I see we're making small gains. We're having some wins. We have some setbacks, but we have some wins. But some genuine remorse, involved in that he's sorry is often required, right? Some sincere understanding. It's whether you accept that apology or not, or whether you believe it to be true. And we'll talk about that in a second, but some sincere understanding of how he's hurt you, that he's reflected upon the impact that the affair has had on you. So for example, if he just brushes off the past infidelity as just a mistake without acknowledging the emotional turmoil it's caused you, this can be difficult, right? So that's something that we need him to come to terms with. If he's not showing any interest in the aftermath of the affair, or if he's getting really defensive, again, we just got to watch out for those signs, but they're not truly indicators that it could happen again, but it's something that falls into that spectrum. So just this lack of reflection may stem from, again, like I said, feelings of guilt, feelings of shame, his own anger towards himself. Rather than confronting those, he's getting defensive, and it's coming through as him being cold and shut down and not taking ownership for what he's done. So while the sign alone does not guarantee that he's going to cheat, it is something that could indicate that it could happen again. All right, that was step one there. So he hasn't fully owned or reflected upon the impact that he's had on you. Number two is apologies may seem rehearsed, and there may be a lack of depth to it. So when someone is genuinely regretting their actions, their apologies, they tend to feel really heartfelt. Like you feel it. They feel genuine. In this situation, if your husband hasn't been one that's truly been good at giving apologies to begin with, this could be a new behavior. Like if he's not one that, if he's very prideful and he doesn't show that he's sorry easily, this again could be a difficult skill for him. So your husband's apology is very important, right? And it has to be felt, and you have to be able to accept it too. Sometimes you might want to even take the apology and break it up into little apologies. Like, what do you need him to say sorry for? Like, instead of this grandiose, like big apology for the entire event, years, days, months, weeks, every single action, text, image that's in your head, you may need to break it up into little apologies that you need from him. So definitely you need some sort of apology, some sort of action and words that have demonstrated that he is showing some remorse. So rehearsed apologies often stem from this desire to end the conversation too. So if you're finding he's just using sorry to shut down the conversation, that can happen, versus using a sorry to repair and close off a wound. He might be focused on avoiding conflict rather than addressing the underlying issues that you need to go into. So that would be a second one. So we had the first one, right, that he needs to reflect on the impact that it's had on you, the infidelity. Number two, his apologies are sincere and they're not just rehearsed without that lack of depth. Number three, if he's still engaging in secretive actions, this could be one of the signs that infidelity could happen again. And we both know, all of us, both you, I, and everyone else watching knows that trust is the foundation, right? Trust is the foundation of a really, really healthy relationship, and secretive behavior erodes it, right? And that's the trickle truce, that's withholding information. It erodes massively. And when you discover something like that, it can take you back steps and steps and steps. But when that does happen, know that you can regain trust. We just have to put in different boundaries in place. You have to do some healing within yourself. So if your husband starts to exhibit secretive actions again, hiding his phone, going to the bathroom for long periods of time, showing up late, being kind of like wishy-washy about his whereabouts, becoming really defensive about you questioning him, those could be red flags, right? And your body, listen to your intuition. Your intuition's been through this and it's hyper-focused. It's like, wait, there's a pattern here. I've seen this pattern before. It's not good. So listen to that, honor that. Take a deep breath. I'm like, okay, I see these signs, and watch some of my other lives on how you confront your husband on these, what feel like secrets, and how to address those with him without escalating them. So if you notice that your husband is starting to get really guarded with his phone more closely, keeping it with him at all times, becoming defensive, he also may be making these excuses. So the secretive behavior can arise because he's still concealing something, but it also could be that he's going through his own grief. He's going through his own, like, maybe he's feeling pushed. Maybe he's feeling like he's the bad guy all the time. That could be what's causing it as well. So there may be legitimate excuses that he has for hiding it. May not mean he's actually cheating, but at the same time, definitely this must come with some sort of conversation that needs to happen. So again, watch some of the other lives on how to deal with that, but that would be the third sign. Third sign is that there's some more secretive behavior happening. Okay, fourth sign that a husband could cheat again. And this is, he continues to seek fulfillment outside the marriage. And we've talked about this so many times in my trainings, that the betrayal isn't about you. It's not that you're not enough. It's not that you've done something wrong. And if he's bothered by something that you've done, or he needed something from you that you weren't giving to him, like step one was to communicate it, right? Not to like leave the marriage and seek out validation elsewhere. So if he's continuing to seek out outside validation, or going to things like porn, shopping, gambling, alcohol, drug use to kind of create a new feeling in his body to escape old feelings, whether it's betrayal with another woman, or if it's just betrayal of like financial betrayal or other types of betrayal. So when a husband is seeking out emotional or physical fulfillment outside the marriage, it can be an indication that he's still dissatisfied or has unresolved issues, communication issues, emotions within his body that he's not able to articulate. So whether it's seeking validation from others, like I said, developing close relationships, emotional connections with the opposite sex, engaging in activities that exclude you, this erodes trust, right? It erodes trust, it erodes intimacy. So if he's spending a ton of time outside the marriage, seeking out excitement there, whether it's healthy or not healthy, we need to address that too, because obviously we want to create that connection again with the two of you. So, however, it's good to address this issue right away with your husband, and figuring out what it is that you can do to help fix this so he's not getting more distant and more distant. So we want to make sure we keep the closeness there, because that is another sign that we would say that is like the fourth sign that another affair could happen if he's kind of getting more distant and seeking out things outside the marriage. All right, 5. You can tell that I'm struggling with this conversation because I'm so worried about triggering you all watching it right now. I really am. So number 5, he brushes the conversations under the rug. And this happens all the time. And it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to cheat again. But again, it's like a fifth sign that he just keeps brushing conversations under the rug. Like we said, communication is the foundation of all healthy relationships, especially after infidelity. Communication has to happen. So if your husband is consistently avoiding discussing these uncomfortable topics related to past infidelity, dismissing your concerns, shutting down your questions. We've already talked about this. Why do you keep asking? When are you going to get over it? I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's in the past. Like if that keeps happening, this could be another sign as well. It means he probably potentially hasn't dealt with the underlying or root issue of why he cheated in the first place. Whether it was seeking out validation, working on mother wounds, working on his own confidence, like seeking that out because whatever reason he wasn't happy and he thought he could find happiness elsewhere. So whether your attempt to initiate conversation about the past infidelity or for you to express your feelings and emotions about your mistrust, if he minimizes the importance of it or changes the conversation or jokes to lighten the mood, that definitely is difficult, right? Because he keeps brushing it away. So brushing conversations under the rug is a common defense mechanism used to avoid uncomfortable truths and emotions. So that's what he's doing, trying to avoid truths and owning it and difficult emotions. So he may feel overwhelmed, guilt, shame, fear about the confrontation, and then using avoidance as a coping mechanism. So again, it doesn't mean he's going to cheat if he's avoiding sweeping, but it is another sign. It's the fifth sign that we have here. So the pattern of behavior can hinder the healing process and obviously prevent you guys from moving forward. All right, 6, constantly deflects blame. This is like a really difficult one, right? Little different than the last one. Like it's not just brushing the conversations. Like it's not just like avoiding. It's just completely blaming, like blaming you. So when faced with the repercussions of past infidelity, your husband may consistently shift blame to you. Like this is because of you. You did this. So he's blame shifting and putting external factors on you. Like he's refusing to acknowledge the role he played in the betrayal and signaling like a massive lack of accountability upon this. So you may try to discuss the infidelity with your husband and hoping that he'll have some sort of acknowledgement of the actions, the pain he's caused you with, again, that genuine apology, which kind of links back to one of our past signs. Instead, he's just deflecting and blaming you, claiming that you weren't attentive enough or that you were pushing him away or that you were shutting him out. And often that does happen. That's a natural part of marriage, right? Like financial crisis, health crisis, a death in the family, like job change, job loss, like working really hard for a promotion. We have these ebbs and flows in a relationship, and he may use those to blame you that you've done something wrong. But like, hello, all you needed was to understand his feelings, right? And he may have said he tried to articulate it, but you just weren't hearing. But again, you don't have to leave the relationship and cheat to make your point known. So he may blame the circumstances on you or even other people. But yeah, so much, right, he could be doing. So deflecting blame is a defense mechanism that allows individuals to avoid facing uncomfortable realities. So your husband may be grappling with these feelings of guilt and shame and inadequacy, and then blame shifting his responsibility for what he's done onto others in order to preserve his self-image and his ego. All right, number 7, he's disregarding you, completely disregarding you. And this one's kind of been threaded through a lot of them, just disregarding your feelings. So disregarding your feelings, he's disregarding your needs, he's disregarding your boundaries. And boundaries is so important when it comes to rebuilding trust, right? You need to be able to put a boundary in place. Like, I don't need to check your phone, but if I want to, I just want to know what the password is. Number 1, for safety. And for some reason, if I want to, just knowing I have it is great, but I'll never probably check it without you letting me know. But if he's disregarding boundaries, knowing that you want him to text him when he gets to work or text you when he gets home. So this, again, a red flag. So if your husband's consistently dismissing your concerns and like respecting you, right, and your boundaries, ignoring your emotional well-being, prioritizing his own desires, his own needs over you, can be another indicating factor that cheating could happen again. So you express your feelings, your hurt, the insecurity that you're feeling, not feeling enough, not feeling heard, not feeling seen, not feeling in control. You're expressing all these feelings, this deep sadness, this deep hurt, and just wanting reassurance from your husband, just hearing that he's on board to fix this, to heal this, but you're not necessarily getting it and he's brushing it all off. So he's disregarding your feelings, he's not validating your emotions, belittles your experience, like what your reality is, all like the stories you have, like, I feel like this is happening, and he just dismisses it. Like, when will you get over it? Or that's not true at all, even though maybe he said something the other day that made it feel true, but now he's going back on his word. So disregarding your feelings can stem from a variety of factors, including his inability to have empathy, maybe past pain of like arguments with you. Like, maybe he's seen you as a past version of yourself, where maybe you belittled him in the past a little bit, but now he's seeing it as belittling, even though you're not doing it anymore. So this unwillingness to confront his own discomfort and guilt is kind of being taken out on you, right? Because he's just disregarding you. 8 sign, right? He has broken trust in other areas. So we're talking about 8 signs here, eight factors that could lead to him cheating again. And he's broken trust in other areas of your marriage. So when trust is broken, it has a ripple effect throughout the marriage. If your husband has a history of breaking trust in other aspects of your life, it can indicate that there's a pattern of behavior that could increase the likelihood of future infidelity. So perhaps your husband has broken promises, commitments in the past, like lied about finances, hidden important information, failed to follow through on certain tasks that he said he was going to do. These breaches of trust can show that there's a lot of like certain character in him. Like, maybe he's really prideful. Maybe he feels shame if he fails at things. He doesn't like to make mistakes because it makes him feel bad about himself. So again, those breaches of trust could be a sign, but often, like, these are all signs that there's inner work that he needs to do. Like, yes, he could cheat again because he hasn't dealt with the root feeling within him. So patterns of broken trust in other areas of the marriage can indicate that there's an underlying issue with him and his communication, him and his ability to communicate with you. And the truth is, like, when it comes to this, really, like, there's such a different path for everyone when it comes to healing from infidelity, and for your husband, right? Like, he has to take ownership of what he's done and figure out what the root is. And it's a different path for everyone. And he may not know, like, for us, it might be so simple, like, just dig into it, like, figure it out. Like, don't you want to be better? And it can be really hard, because if they've been hiding feelings and emotions for so long, like avoiding pain, and that's probably one of the reasons they sought out validation elsewhere, sought out this happy feeling elsewhere, even though it's just a fake feeling, right? It's not real. Like, it's a real feeling, sorry, it's a neurochemical in your body. It's real, but it's coming from like a very superficial thing on the external. They haven't dealt with what's below the surface of why it really happened. So making sure that with proper guidance, proper treatment, and in time, knowing that you're there to support them too in this healing. If you choose to stand by your husband and help him through this healing journey, great. Or if you're in a place where, you know what, I'm going to stay, I'm going to work on myself. And I know by working on myself, I'll release the anger, I'll release all the feelings that have come through this experience. And when I do so, I know I'll get the clarity whether I want to stay and go. But knowing that a man who has cheated, can he change? Absolutely. Can a marriage survive a second cheating? I've seen it. It can happen. Is that the case for you? No. We can't necessarily say yes or no. The stats, they are scary. They really are, but they don't take in into consideration all the individual aspects. Like if we were to say 3 times more likely, so like 30% chance that it could happen again, what about those other marriages that didn't have cheating? Like what were the difference in factors? Like, and that's where we need to dig into the research a little bit more. The couples that did experience infidelity again, were they going to couples counseling? Was he doing any individual work on himself? Did he have a support network around him? Like what were the external factors that maybe played a role in the cheating happening again? There's so much there. And then once a cheater, always a cheater. It's not a universal truth at all, but we're brought up with this belief that someone can't change, and that's really not fair to put that belief on anyone. And if you have the belief once a cheater, always a cheater, we need to look at that limiting belief and say, is it keeping me stuck? Is it keeping me from being able to trust my husband again? And if so, that's when I can come in and work on all these beliefs that I can't trust my husband. Well, other aspects you can trust. I just don't feel like enough. I don't feel in control. Like he keeps crossing my boundaries. These are things that I can help you work on. I have my hypnosis training. I work with wives in my Marriage Saver program, and we really work with the subconscious mind to really work on these past memories, past trauma, past beliefs about our reality and figure out what's keeping us stuck from becoming happy, whether it's with your husband, ideally, or sometimes we get the clarity, you know what? It's not for me to do anymore, but it's possible. And none of us have the crystal ball, but we do know that you will be okay. You will get through this. And I bring this to you, not for you not to be able to sleep tonight. These are just 8 common signs that are out there, but it's not your story. So I don't want you to take this on. If you have any questions, if there's anything I can do to support you through this, please reach out. Like my heart is wide open for you right now, for those that have stayed to the end to watch this, because I know how difficult this topic is and how sensitive it is. So anyway, reach out anytime. Again, Beth Miller, the Marriage Saver program. Find me anywhere at Soulfy Wellness on so many different platforms, and would love to hear from you. All right, bye everyone.